which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. You may be seated. All right. Next item on the agenda, we have the minutes from November 7th.
I'll make a motion unless there are any corrections by other members of the board to accept the minutes as written.
Second.
All in favor? Motion carries. All right, so the next item on the agenda is a really important one. It's a presentation for very special individuals. And I'd like to mention first off that tomorrow, December 6th, is the one-year anniversary of the proclamation of Mayor Gwaltney Day in remembrance of his 20 years of service and now 21 years. So, because I saw it.
20 years and 1 month.
Yeah. So, thank you for another year of service. And the next one is going to be a award from Spalding and the mayor's office, and it's for a Spring Hope Ambassador, and I want to define what this is. A Spring Hope Ambassador Award is very distinguished and honorable award. An ambassador of Spring Hope is an individual that embodies the spirit of Spring Hope and shares it with others. A Spring Hope ambassador volunteers, supports, motivates, and inspires greatness. An ambassador leaves behind them a trail of good deeds that were never asked for, simply out of the kindness of their heart. These ambassadors are our neighbors and friends. We are proud to call them Spring Hope residents. Spring Hope is better off because of these honorable and amazing ambassadors. So we've had 2, and the current month's recipient is Miss Carolyn Avett. Prior recipient was Miss Peggy Leggett. Can you get that?
Thank you. Oh, I love it.
That was fun. Happy birthday, by the way.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you, ladies.
All right. Thank you so much for all that y'all do for the community. Moving on, next item is going to be new business, and the first half of that is to reopen a public hearing for map amendment SUP-LI to RMF on South Pine Street, residential multifamily. So we get a motion to go back to public
Get a
hearing.
motion for public hearing. Second.
All in favor? All right, we are in a public hearing. This is open to the public.
How are y'all today? Quick recap for everybody. My name is Frank Ferraro. I'm a representative of an investment group that has property right down the road here in Spring Hope. We are here seeking the approval to have that land rezoned from light industrial to residential multifamily. Do you all have the packets? You got the packets? Okay, so the first page, if you've got it in the same order as I do, should be an aerial picture of the lot. This is an aerial page showing the property. It's parcel 009538. And as mentioned, for this purpose, it's being referred to as 212 South Pine Street. The second page is going to be your zoning map. This is your current zoning map of our property, which is highlighted there. If you'll notice that 3 of the bordering properties are currently zoned R8, higher density, and the one property directly across the street is already zoned residential multifamily. We also have a survey, that's the next page, You'll see the lot has a total of 1.81 acres. You'll see all your lot dimensions on there. Please note that there is 412 feet of street front on South Pine Street, and this property goes all the way over to Ash Street, where there is 106 feet of street front. I'd like to take a minute to just recap something else to bring to attention that this was initially brought forward at the August planning board meeting, at which the board members found and voted unanimously that this was not inconsistent, to rezone this property was not inconsistent with the comprehensive land use plan. A couple of factors that went into that are, again, the fact that this is a zoned light industrial. It has not been utilized or improved on in 20 years. Another fact that came up in the notes of that meeting are that rezoning this and the development of this property would increase public infrastructure, public sidewalks, sewer and water taps, which would increase some more revenue. And that's just a note page from that previous August meeting. In terms of revenue as well, the tax base, that property currently valued at $90,000, creates generally $600 a year for the town. Our new townhomes with an estimated 10 units would have a tax value of about $3 million and would generate roughly $45,000 in revenue for the town. The townhomes themselves, which would be next, we'll get into this next page right here, which is a little flyer for, I have some of these if anybody wants some too. You want to just spread them out? Everybody. Here's a description of the townhomes. We are proposing 3 separate buildings, one 4-unit building, one 3-unit building, and one 5-unit building. Each unit will be approximately 1,800 square feet. 3.5 bedrooms, 3 bedrooms, 2.5 baths, pardon me. And then you can also flip through to your floor plans in your packet. They'll also have a single car garage. We'll be constructing these concrete foundation and footings, wood frame walls, engineered wood roof trusses, insulated vinyl windows, vinyl siding, 30-year asphalt shingles, and each unit will have its own sewer and water connection. Some of the features in these will be carpet in the bedrooms, tile in your bathrooms and laundry room, LVP flooring throughout the common areas, granite countertop in the kitchen, new appliance package, which will include a stove, refrigerator, microwave, and a dishwasher. In addition to the garage, the single-car garage will have driveways that will accommodate 2 additional cars so as not to bottle up any parking and street traffic. Your next one should be 2 versions of the site plan as we had proposed it. You'll see the 3 buildings on there. In another note, a final note probably, well, let me get to the cost too. We're projecting these units to be at approximately $160 to $170 a square foot, which puts your sale price at about $288,000 to $306,000 per unit. These prices obviously will be regulated by market values. Prices fluctuate, costs change a little bit. Supply chains might be affected by this. So there's got to be a little bit of variance in that price. And then finally, like I was saying, yesterday I was lucky enough to come down to the Spring Hope Christmas celebration. It was quite nice. I had a really good time. Spent a few hours down here, got to speak to a lot of people, a lot of business owners. And in doing so, I explained what our plans were, and the majority of them were quite excited to hear that there might be something done with that property finally. So much and so that I have 4 pages of signatures of residents and business owners in this town that are in favor and would like to see 212 Pine Street rezoned and developed.
And you're willing to submit all the stuff you said, 1-car garages, independently owned, sold to the homeowner, not leased, not rented?
No, not leased, not rented, and I mentioned it in my earlier presentation previously, but These will all be upon the sale, the owner will be required to be a part of the homeowners association. And that's gonna be so we can help upkeep and maintain the beauty of the building and the neighborhood, the same.
So you will have a HOA.
We will incorporate an HOA, and they will be required to be a part of it upon sale.
Did I hear you say you had a drawing that showed the buildings?
Show development?
The 3 buildings?
Yes, did you not get that?
Email.
You're talking about
That's it.
I have an aerial view of it and then a, site plan.
No, I'm talking about, okay, this is where this is how they go.
Yeah, that's,
talking about that, or you talking
So
about
which is,
the picture?
where's the road system? See, I don't, how do you access them? I mean,
they're, each has their own,
Oh, yeah.
they'll have individual driveways,
these people are going back out on the
These
Pine
other
Street.
Pine Street and then this is Ash Street
50
on the other
foot
side.
around the whole.
There's
block.
no connection between these, no
No.
roads. This is all green space.
Correct.
We'll let them talk.
Mr.
I
Mayor,
have that drawing. I just didn't
you might want
understand
to
it.
clarify this is a public hearing and let the public ask their questions and then
Oh,
then the
yes.
board.
Thank you.
So he's not face back and forth and the public does.
That's
No,
why,
they're
that's
involved.
why I'm glad you're up here. All right, so this is a public hearing, so this is an opportunity for the public to speak as well. So he's given his case on the property, and now you guys ask questions, so we're in a public hearing. Yes?
What's to prevent the owners that purchase from you making it a rental property? A rental property?
That'll be probably incorporated into the homeowner association agreement.
So will there be HOA fees?
Probably, yeah. Anybody else?
I have one.
Yes.
I'm not sure what I'm looking for, but I'm curious about a rustic look that would blend in more with the town.
Yeah, again, that flyer that you've all gotten, that's a vision that we have. You know, some of the exterior details, you know, we can incorporate or change to fit better, but that's to give you an idea of what the visual landscape and the elevations would look like.
And you are prepared to commit at a bare minimum of the things that you presented tonight?
Correct.
HOA, the garages,
Of course,
granite.
just to remind, this is just a rezoning.
I know.
At this point, yeah, this is just a rezoning
Right.
Yes, yes.
application.
Yes,
So what you're asking is, will he put that in his conditional use application? Right.
Okay.
I mean, but I mean, you can still ask, but
Yeah,
you're
yeah.
asking for a future,
yes.
you're asking for him to put certain things in a future, in an application to be submitted in the future.
Okay.
Isn't that right? I mean, is that,
What is
yeah.
really, yes, in here.
so you can still, you can ask your question,
Yes.
but what's on the table tonight is just rezoning. Just,
Thank you for clarifying that, Attorney Edwards.
And your plans don't come to fruition, do we have a way of saying you can't turn around and sell that to someone else?
no.
Well, it's, no, I mean, that's our land. We can, you know, yeah, we own it, but that's our intention. We're developers, we're general
If they
contractors.
rezone it and you resell it, the land, then it still goes in as a residential property, is that right?
It could, anything that is allowed in that zone, the owner of that property could use it. There are certain things they can use it that are permitted for them to use it without having to come before the town to get a permit. And there are other things they can use the property for that they would have to come to the town and get a permit. That's the case with any piece of
But I think
property.
to answer your question, if I may, is we bought the property, it was zoned light industrial. So that light industrial characteristic follows that property, is that right?
Correct, I mean, right.
So if, in the
You could-
event that we, for some reason, were to sell that property and it was rezoned, that rezoning would follow that land, is that not?
And once the property is rezoned, it's rezoned.
Exactly.
But whatever they wanted to do would still have to come.
Did you have something?
Yeah, I mean, wouldn't it be a conditional rezoning application?
Well, I mean, tonight is, no, tonight he's just asking to be rezoned. And then if it's rezoned, he's saying he will submit a conditional use permit application with
Correct.
all these other things that we're talking about right now.
Those will all be included at that time, any
Right.
other, yeah.
And then after he submits the conditional use application, it'll go through the whole process, which will end up back at this board at some point in the future or so. Not that it can't be discussed tonight, but I'm just saying these things that we're talking about are not being decided tonight.
Correct.
They'll be. you know,
Question for you. Let's say that the rezoning was approved, and then the bare minimum that we have in our zoning ordinances right now leaves it pretty wide open if it were to be rezoned, if he didn't come to us for the conditional use. As it is right now, it's, there's not much
If there are-
restricting what he could do. So
If
if
there-
we rezoned it without changing the restrictions, then technically he could just get administrative approval for certain things.
You're saying there are certain things, and I don't have it in front of me, but just like it is in every piece of property everybody owns, there are certain things you can do with the property that you don't have to come to the town
Right.
and get a permit with. That would be the case with this piece of property, just like every other piece of property in town. If he wants to use it for a use where he doesn't have to have a permit, he could use it for that reason. But they're intending, he's saying they're intending to use it for townhouses. And so just so we're all kind of on the same page, he's saying if you rezone the property, his intent is to come back to the town to go through the full process of talking to the town manager, submitting an application for a conditional use permit for townhomes. But he's not legally required to do that after the vote tonight. After the vote tonight, if you vote to approve the rezoning, the property will be simply rezoned and everything else would have to flow after that. But you also have to consider if you decided not to rezone, it's light industrial, and this property owner or a buyer from this property owner could use that for light industrial uses. And there are certain uses on that property that they can use it for light industrial without having to come to the board for approval. So, if you decide not to rezone, that's fine, but you're making the decision to leave it light industrial open to those type of uses too.
Which neither one of the sections is really that finite on what's allowed, light industrial or the residential. And we're going through the 160D update, which is gonna make everything a lot more defined, right?
Yes, correct.
So we have to kind of vote on good faith that
Did
that
you have a
conditional application comes in.
Let's let the public finish. Any more public questions? I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off.
I mean,
We kind of took this back over. It's your guys' time.
You can go ahead.
So, for the proposal for the rezoning to residential, are we talking about going R8 or which it has to be multifamily?
No, we're going residential multifamily, which will allow us to do the townhomes.
So-
I mean, I like that. I've got, as some of y'all know, I've got some stuff going on in Spring Lake. And, I mean, I like the idea of townhomes. I mean, we got a lot of other opportunities in the area that we can do with industrial or, I mean, I like having more foot traffic downtown. I mean, we've got so many vacant buildings downtown already. And I think if we can put some residences in downtown and do some architectural restrictions, that way it keeps the small town feel like everybody in the room wants. I think it would be good. I mean, the density that Spring Hope allows, I was just looking through some of our projects, and he's got like 1.8 acres, I think he said. And I don't know this guy, never met him, except for Sunday.
Yes.
But I mean, like, we've got 17 acres in Johnston County that we put 100 units on. We've got 1.6 acres in Charlotte we put 30 units on. And he's only doing, like, what, 12 units?
We're estimating 12
I mean,
units.
like the setbacks and everything for Spring Acre, these are still gonna be large lot projects for townhomes. Cause like even, I just looked at one in, Orange County, we've got 117 units on 17.6 acres. So, I mean, I think it's a good, I think it'll help the town just do some architecture research.
I mean, I understand your point might be made, Tom. I mean, you made on, we've got a lot of buildings in town, but I think that's one of the deterrents, I think, is that you've got old buildings that need a lot of work. So if you as a buyer wanted to go in and do something as a contractor, you'd have to expedite a lot of money to, I think, get those things up to do what you need to do, and then put money on top of it to get it where you need to get. I think this piece of property, as close as it is downtown, a contractor for a business would be able to come in and start building. They don't have to worry about the rehab and all that when you got an older building.
But at the day, that doesn't help revitalize our downtown, which is what we need. I mean, I get it, but if everybody keeps building on the outskirts, we're still gonna have a dead downtown.
And for matter of record, I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, no, if we think that 10 units are gonna revitalize us completely, I don't think that's a right perspective either. I think we've gotta look at this as to
Commissioner Jeffers,
What the
let me finish with the public hearing, and then I want you to start back when we go back into closed
I may
session.
forget both ends, but.
Don't forget. But I'll remember, 10 homes won't stop it.
I'll shut up after this, but like what, Daryl's doing with those buildings downtown, I mean, everybody's picking them off one at a time. I think we'll get there with the, a couple buildings at a time. But just.
It's
drive
better
more
served in
people.
an empty lot, to be honest with you.
No, I get you. I understand that. It's set for 20
And we
years.
have not 100% since I've been to the first couple of meetings. It was brought up to me. So we toyed with the idea of doing it. We have signs out on that property right now. We'll build to suit commercial. Someone wants to build a commercial property there. We're not opposed to it. We have gotten 0 phone calls.
I understand. No, I understand. Well, I can't talk yet.
Would anyone else from the public like to speak before we close the public hearing?
I would just say that it's hard to see those homes up to 300,000 in town of Spring Hope. But do I think we need it? Yes, as long as it fits the landscape.
And I'll say this one last thing. I mean, we've had problems with other buyers not being able to qualify just because the tax rate out here is higher than the city of Raleigh.
Wow.
And so I think once we can, obviously, the town's problem is we haven't had any growth. I think we've had negative population growth. And so if we can get more projects going on downtown, and boost up the Worcester town.
Kind of help finish off what started.
That's my concern with going at that price point you're at, because one, our tax rate is at such a high rate for that price point, and our location here, you're pricing yourself out of really being able to move those houses and getting people to qualify for them.
We've spoken to some of our realtors, and they feel that that these projects that we're proposing can take off, and that would quite honestly be on us to fill. That's our financial burden.
That's true.
But that's what we want to do.
I really think that's going to, at the end of the day, that's going to be a crapshoot.
We'll see.
Say your price point one more time, was it?
At $160 to $170.
Yeah, I heard
a square foot.
300,000, but
Through,
160.
288 to 306 sale price.
I do know the houses out in Wake County crossing 301 and one, I think it is, on 98 Harbor Road going to Youngsville. They have beautiful homes out there, like a 13 houses to a lot, 500,000. So I think this is a lot to Spring Oak, because you're not getting any acreage, you're not getting, dog pens.
I think a big appeal to it is that you're in this downtown Spring Hope area, the beautiful district, the community down there. A lot of people want to do that. Younger families are coming in there. I think it's an appeal to a lot of people. Plus the fact that we'll have a homeowners association, no one has to worry about mowing their lawn or that kind of general upkeep. I think it's a high in demand.
And I hope you're right.
I do too.
All right, if no one else from the public would like to ask any questions, if we,
Would the police chief like to remark on, because that seems to be a hot spot down there?
In what respect, drugs?
I mean, I want to see it grow.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the thing. But with growth, there's a lot of things have to go with that. And right now with our police force, we can't outgrow what we have. But I want to see it grow. So, I mean, it's really hard for me to say, as a citizen, I would have a total different opinion than I do as the police chief. So, I mean, not responding off of emotions, then I would say we need to get straight inside before we start making outside better, if that makes sense. But you are also only talking about 12 units.
2.2 kids.
And you're going to have a lot more eyes downtown. You're going to have a lot to see what's going on. You're going to have a lot more people to respond if they need something. You're going to have more foot traffic that will be, building the town up. But with all that being said, you're also going to need other things to make that work.
that's good.
Maybe Food Line would deliver groceries.
And I think part of what we're proposing would increase revenue, $45,000 a year. And that's, you know, at the town's discretion, updated police equipment, material, you know, stuff like that. So I think the best way to get rid of a hotspot is force it out. You know, I'm gonna call the police if something's happening next to my property. So if someone's in there, they're gonna look after their own property. I think that's the best way to do it.
Are you gonna have wooden fence, or has that been thought about?
That'll probably be addressed in the homeowner association. We will be required to have a certain amount of area and square footage that will be an open air recreation area that the whole townhomes can use. Whether it be, not a park, but it'll be for everyone in the townhome to use jointly. And then whether they can fence in their individual lot, again, that's something that will come under the conditional use when we go to all those details, and then address and maintain with the homeowner association.
So lot more steps. Okay,
Yeah.
yes, sir.
Just one more question. With the townhomes coming in and in the area that it's gonna be in, it's gonna impact all the other homes that's around that area and, you know, probably older homes, older people, maybe young people, I don't know. But with that, and especially with the tax revenue we're talking about that's coming in, it's also eventually gonna drive up the taxes for the individuals that are still around it. So, I guess, how does the town balance the people that are already staying there, and as properties start to push outward, you know, how do those people remain in those areas and still be able to afford to pay property taxes? Because it's gonna happen. I mean, I've lived in Wake County, and I know what the growth looks like. And so, at some point in time, those individuals that have been residents of Spring Hope for X number of years may have to, you know, deal with the decision. I may own my home, but can I afford property taxes to stay there? I mean, it starts at some point, then once it starts, it doesn't stop.
What's the point?
All right. That was some very good points, questions, and comments. If there are no more, if we can get a motion to end open session,
Public hearing.
public hearing.
Make a motion to come out of public hearing into open session.
We have- All in favor?
Aye.
Motion carries. All right. Thank you for your time on that public hearing there. And we're gonna.
If you'll stay, you know, you
Yeah.
can sit down if you want, or you can stand up.
I'm fine.
Since I'm kind of coming in a little behind, I'm sorry, Mr. Jeffrey.
Yes, remember.
No, I'm
No,
good.
I'll be happy to give my pen so you can make your notes.
No, I think I made my statement, I just, it's the last little piece we have, but I'm just saying, I just made a statement, that's all that. Because what's across the street, right across the street, that main frontage of the two buildings is gonna be light industrial, I'm assuming. Where that building burned down, that's light industrial. So I'm sure here in the next couple months, we'll have somebody else coming in now wanting to switch that to, which, that might be better than bad, to be honest with you, then you got more. So you gotta start sometimes, I guess, but I just, it worries me like it was just brought up about what goes on at the corner of Ash. There's been issues down there with some shootings, I think, right? So it worries me a little bit with about families can be living there, which there are houses there anyway, so. But anyway, I've said what I have to say.
I guess I'll start, because really the gist of tonight is
Yeah.
not apartments or how many,
Yep.
whether you're building skyrise or anything, it's changing the property from light industrial
Correct.
to residential multifamily.
That's correct.
That is the end all to
All
tonight's
things
meeting, the
are
whole
defined.
thing.
Correct.
Because I know there've been lots of questions and thoughts, and I'm looking over the notes that I was given for the meeting, and dating back to the August meeting, said, the notes I got from that meeting was, the applicant seeks a permit to add and construct two-family townhomes or duplexes.
That was initially.
That was in August, right?
Yeah, that was in August, and that was our initial thought process. We really didn't want to do that. We wanted to do townhomes right from the get-go. Excuse me. And so that was revised, and our plans have
So
changed.
you would like to do some type of multifamily?
Yeah, exactly.
and that'll all be decided in another meeting.
Correct.
More meetings. So I guess that's probably kind of, I'm trying to help
Thank
herd
you.
the cats a little bit.
Thank you.
And-
All right,
and
so,
Mr.
so we had the public hearing, and we cannot, the town manager did not put it on the agenda to take an action item to vote on this, but we can bring it before the board if you all would like to make a motion to accept or deny this
So-
rezoning.
Yeah, I just had and I know I'm getting back off the subject of the actual rezoning, but there's some things to look for is the requirement between buildings.
I'm sorry?
Your drawings, the requirement between building and the green spaces, you're not exactly meeting that
Yeah,
with your
exactly,
design.
and I can address that. This packet that I submitted to the town manager, I submitted Monday of last week, and that email that I guess you've all have gotten, bringing up those new requests or new guidelines. We're prepared to address those, you know, as you all may know.
That's fine.
This would be under conditional uses, that would be something we would address then, but that doesn't, you know, if we need to combine the two buildings to one to get our space, we're confident that we can conform to all of those requirements and still do our project.
I do want to say thank you. It does appear that you've done a lot of homework and a lot of work on this. I think when you came to the first meeting, not so much.
Yeah, I was
In
totally
fact,
unprepared.
I went to Franklinton to look at your previous, and they're all rental properties, and was not very appealing, to be honest with you. And I know you don't own them anymore.
No.
And so I appreciate the question that came from this side from Ms. Wright about can somebody purchase it and then turn it into rental properties? But the HOA does address that. So
Exactly. And
I
those
do
were
want to say
back
I
when we were-
appreciate everything you did.
That's when we were proposing the duplex, we were away from that, so.
I do appreciate everything you've done to
Thank
get
you.
to this point, so.
You might want to
Attorney
write that.
Edwards, is there anything we need to know from your counsel on this?
No, I mean, if, like I said, it's a simple vote of whether to rezone or not rezone, and then everything else will flow from that.
Okay.
But it's not, you don't, whoever's making the motion, there's nothing else to make the motion, to put in the motion other than whether to rezone or not.
So we'll leave it up to a board member to make a motion to accept or reject the
So just let
rezoning.
me say, when I did talk to Andrew, he said that, currently the site plan did not meet for the
Yeah,
multifamily.
that's what we were just talking about.
So, I mean, even though you're doing the rezoning, you still need to take this into consideration, that maybe you don't need to vote right this second, because he said there were several things that.
There are- May I?
I just talked to him like
That-
20
that's-
minutes ago.
That's fine, and like I was just stating, those additional requirements were brought to me later than this packet. We have no problem, we can meet those requirements, I don't, you know, I'm not gonna dispute those. And again, meeting those requirements would be something that would be under the conditional use. This is basically to vote to rezone, I can get those.
No, I know, but you're
conditions
voting
met.
to rezone to the multifamily, and if it doesn't meet it, you can't vote to do it.
I can make my multifamily meet those conditions.
Okay.
I can do a simple addendum to
The
my.
current drawings.
I can
What you're
revise-
submitting, yeah.
Right, does not meet it,
Right.
so.
Yeah, this one that you have currently does not. I sent it in prior to that email. I can get revised site plans that would show that we meet those requirements. And again, that's something that simply done at a conditional hearing.
Based on the fact that you do have to bring it back to us for the conditional use, to meet the adjustments here that have all been addressed and some of the other things that have come from the public, I make a motion that we rezone
Do we have a
to
second?
residential. Or another motion.
So if there is no second, the motion, the motion will die.
What does he need to do?
She's out of she's out of
Okay, so if there's no second, then the motion dies. Do we have another motion to accept or reject the rezoning request tonight?
So I guess the options are accept, reject, or table.
Well, I mean, you just, if you take no action, the property's not rezoned.
Right.
It'd be basically like tabling it, he could bring it before us again.
When Andrew's here?
Tony's got some questions or
Now,
comments.
do we know when our 160Ds will be done?
I mean, what?
When our 160Ds will be done?
No, no, I think in his manager's report, it says, there, he's having another meeting. Let's see, we have a schedule, there's a progress meeting in January. That's what's in his report.
Yeah. Understood.
And when's it due to start?
It's past,
Just, yeah.
it's past,
Has to.
I know.
should have been done when the jail was here.
That's why I said based on that.
Okay.
Do any commissioners have any more questions for Attorney Edwards' counsel?
And clarified. As Buddy stated, the issue tonight is whether or not to rezone it from light industrial to residential. If
Multifamily.
that, multifamily, if that is done, whoever owns it, this gentleman or somebody down the road, still has to come before us, meet all these requirements, bring a conditional use permit, unless there would be certain things they could do without coming before the board once that is rezoned to residential multifamily.
Yeah, I mean, there's a table of uses
Right.
that I would, that if you could, the table of uses has over 100 different uses, and in this particular zone, I'd have to see what was out there, but I'm assuming without looking at the chart at the moment, there are ways you can use that property without having a conditional use permit, yes. That's,
So some of my concern about going ahead and rezoning this tonight, meaning no disrespect, but we've heard a lot of different things from you since August. And I know your changes, plans change, and you want to do different things as you look at the property you have, but it's been so changeable what you have proposed at different meetings, and some of the information that we've gotten on some of your other properties gives me some concern about what your actual intentions are. So you said you're willing to meet these requirements.
I am.
So how about bring us a plan next month, drawn out, where you're meeting the requirements we've already discussed tonight and the requirements that the town manager has pointed out that are not met in the current plan, so that we have a better feeling that you are gonna do like you say you're gonna do. That's my concern about making the change tonight.
Well, I mean, I don't have a problem with that, but unless I'm mistaken, if this is voted on tonight and let's say we pass it, I can't do no matter anything that I proposed here unless we go to the conditional use
Well,
here.
but
And at
as
that
the-
point, I would meet those requirements.
Well, but as the lawyer pointed out, as our counsel pointed out, there are certain uses in residential multifamily. If we change it to that zoning tonight, there are certain uses that you could totally change this project and not meet some of these and fit some of the existing ordinances in that zone. And so that's my reason
And
for
no
pause.
disrespect to you, but
No, that's-
the
and I mean,
zoning
there-
right now is just not as finite as I think the board would want it to be.
All that is being reassessed and redone, and I agree.
And I think the
We
only
need
thing that
some-
changed my mind on it was that initial thing, the initial meeting, when I, mentioned duplex. From that point forward, this is what, we've got a lot of time and effort and money put into this. This is what we want to do. We've come down to Spring Oak. We've spent weekends down. We want to see this town revitalized, and that's where our intentions are.
May I say something, please?
Yes,
Yeah,
please.
please do.
Everything that sounds and looks good is not good. That's first, I want to start off saying that. My concern has always been, he's talking about putting $288,000 to $306,000 duplexes, townhomes. Okay? You all know the area. What's across the street?
The what?
What is across the street? What's beside this lot, each side? Are those homes gonna be an asset to the street in that area or not? Cause you cannot make everybody else on that street or beside it or in front of it to renovate their homes.
No, of course I can't.
I know
can't
you
make anybody do
can't.
that.
I'm talking now, right now, okay? You just can't. Are these homes gonna add to it or take away from it? You just looking at just like 1.8 acres, and you got all the rest of the street across, the side, back of it. You can have a time selling it too, because I wouldn't buy one. I'm gonna just be honest.
So if
Not in that area, I would not. So yes, my vote, well, remember, mine is no.
Can I ask a question?
Chief.
Am I allowed to do that?
Chief, yes, you can, Chief.
Would, is that okay? At the price point of $288 for a multifamily home, would that qualify for government assisted living? Would that go into Section 8 housing?
That, no?
If it's in the covenant, you know,
It
you're.
won't, it's too much. Will not.
And Attorney Edwards, if we table this, then no action will
And
be
we keep
taken.
tabling this thing too.
Oh, well, no, just all the options for any of the commissioners that wanted to make a
I mean,
motion.
there's no need to,
As Commissioner Cone, can we table it, accept it, or reject it? Do we have all three options tonight?
yes, I think if you vote to reject it, you kind of got a issue of bringing it back up before the board, because once the board takes action, you just can't keep coming back every month. And so you would have to have, I believe, a 4/5 vote to bring it back up, if you took a vote not to rezone, which you haven't done yet. If you just leave it like it is, you can bring it back up. If you took a vote tonight and passed a motion to not rezone, to bring it back up at a subsequent meeting, you would need 4/5. I mean, once the board takes action, it has a certain weight to it, and you can't just come back and just do it. But if you don't do anything right now, you can bring it back up. I mean, just
Okay, so
looking
we
at,
can table it.
I mean, to go, Commissioner, I mean, what's permitted without, what is permitted in this, if you did rezone it, what's permitted without a conditional use or special use permit is single-family dwellings, parks, accessory uses with another use, a playground, or utility lines. So those are the things, how the property could be used without a permit.
Administrative approval.
Right. I mean, it's still, that may not change where you are, I'm just letting you know a little bit where,
Read that out again, single-family houses, utility easement, parks, accessory uses, what is this, what are accessory uses?
in accordance with 26 dash something, let me, here we go, 20. It authorizes the establishment of accessory use and structures that are incidental and subordinate to the principal use. The purpose of this section is to allow a broad range of accessory uses and structures, provided they comply with the standards set forth in this section to reduce potentially adverse impacts on surrounding areas. I mean, I think, like, it would be, like if you were using a permitted use for a park, you might be the town may allow a structure to be built to accommodate the prior use.
Single-family home.
Yeah.
Garage.
Right. And there's a whole section that you have to go through to do that, but it would be something like that. So yeah, just something accessory to a permitted use. So anyway, that's.
All right, so touching back base on the email from Andrew about things that he needed for it to actually meet the capability to be rezoned. Is the perimeter yard required, which I believe that was the map that showed where the structures would be placed on the lot. So we would at minimum need that.
That's actually not part of the rezoning.
It's not?
No, that would be part of the conditional use.
Oh, I see.
If you want to put those floor plans on that property.
Oh, so he's way ahead.
Yeah. So that actually was in front of that.
All right, so we can make a motion.
So, I mean, from what Mr. Edwards has said, I think the concerns are, could you come back and put an apartment complex? Or could you put duplexes? Or could you do something like that when it's administrative? But those are not on the list that he just read. Anything, let's say you sold it, you couldn't do anything. You sold it to Johnny up the street, and Johnny decided he wanted to put apartment complex or duplexes down there. That does not meet the requirements of
Conditional use.
an administrative approval versus a board approval. Am I correct, Mr. Edwards?
Right.
So if somebody else bought it and wanted to come back and do apartments or duplexes, they would still have to come for conditional use before us. I think that's the fear. I think that's where Commissioner Griffin's coming from. It's like I told you, we saw the unit, I personally looked at the units in Franklinton that became rental properties. That is not something that I would really want to put like that.
I agree.
And just, I don't know if this helps, and I will not read all of them because it's more, but in its current zoning, just like I say, this is kind of just going through the very beginning. It allows for farming, greenhouses, churches, colleges and universities, community centers, daycares, government offices, schools, public safety, electronic gaming operations, automotive rental and leasing, automotive repair services, equipment repair, heavy equipment repair, laboratories for research and testing, offices. So that's what's out there now.
As it currently is, it's light
That's
industrial.
how it is right now.
So would they want a Caterpillar?
So if
Or a townhome?
you vote, right, if you were to vote to make it residential multifamily, you're removing all those things and as far as what can be done without, I guess I wasn't necessarily, some of those would be with a conditional use permit. I just was rattling off some of the things that it's used for. And there's a lot more on that zone. I didn't read all of it.
When you looked up the residential, you looked up residential multifamily.
Correct.
Mr. Jeffries, you have some questions?
Michelle, what Andrew's given us, number 3, that 50-foot perimeter yard,
That's part of the conditional use.
I know, but if that is I'm assuming it's a true statement, that small lot on Ash Street, you'll have a hard time putting a building in there.
The one on Ash Street, if
I'm just making a statement to you. I mean,
I understand.
if you draw this, if this is the scale, which I would hope it's the scale,
It is.
you'd have about 12 feet between 50 foot from each property line to put, and I can see how you can get your other 2 buildings in. I can see that, but I can't see you putting anything in that small portion, if that, in fact, I'm just saying that. In fact, if that, and that would knock out, I don't know how many, three of your townhomes that you proposed?
2. That would knock out 2.
Just 2?
2 units, yeah. If that ended up, just as a matter of record, to meet that criteria, again,
I know.
redrawing this site plan, there's a couple of quick things that we do, that if it was rezoned residential or multifamily, that one on Ash Street, we could do a brand-new 2-story home and then combine the 2 buildings on Pine Street to 1 building. I know we're only allowed 8 units per building.
Yeah,
max,
that's right.
But that 8-unit building would then get rid of the 40-foot
So
in
you'd
between.
guess what I'm getting at, you can make something work that you can make money. I mean,
Exactly,
and
that's
what
the
you're in
point, and
business
we
for. I
have,
hate to see-
there are contingencies that we're prepared to do.
Let's see, let's go through this. All right.
Commissioner Gartney.
I'm thinking your benefit.
Yep.
If we let this, you have a motion and no second, and if you let the board stop at this point, and you don't push to it being turned down, then none of your options have closed off. You've just been pushed back 30 days. If they vote not to, and I mean, it's a decision we all need to make, whether or not you want to lose some light industrial, which gives you some more commercial advantages downtown. You know, and they decide they don't, we decide, I'm sorry, I'm saying they, but it's we. You know, at this point, you're just held up 30 days.
Right, and if that was, you know, if, I don't know if I have the right to decide that, but if that's the direction we went, other than a revised site plan showing those requirements being met, is there a list I could get from the board members of what they would like to do, or is it just a matter of?
I think, I would like to see one, other than just a line, more of a drawing of what you would like to put in, and what you see with the things that were missed on the first drawing, with your setbacks and all of that shown, instead of us having a bad drawing and saying, this is wrong, this is wrong, this is wrong. You're like, look, new information's come to light. And I don't even care if it's just an overhead sketch or whatever, but, you know, my concern was first I saw, you know, the August one, where you're gonna do a couple of townhomes.
Yeah,
Then I heard you say you want to do 3 buildings totaling 10 units, and that's fine. I mean, that's old information, new information.
Right.
I'm playing catch up. If you stop at this point, you really haven't lost anything but 30 days. And that leaves you the opportunity to come back next month and approach us and not get shut down, or maybe y'all have a big office meeting and say, we're going back and push harder for a commercial type setup. I mean, that's an internal question for
Right,
you
right.
and your partner.
Right. I think, I think at this point, it might be to my benefit to go ahead and get maybe a better drawing, redraw that site plan and come back again in the hopes that it pleases everybody's questions and concerns, and then at that point, we'll just come to a vote on whether you want it or not. Obviously, I think the public opinion matters too. Like I said, I've gotten plenty of positive feedback. I think it's a great thing for the town, so if it pleases you all, I'd like to do it, come back next month. I don't know if I need to request a table or what the proper.
Request a spot on the agenda. I mean, spitballing, obviously, Commissioner Jeffries has shown, if you have the setback, especially where your property hits Ash Street, but, I mean, maybe a redesign where you use that as a parking entrance instead of losing the land. That may give you better density on your buildings, where you can get back to a higher count without reading all of this. And in a way, because I'm sure there's a number you want to hit, a certain amount.
Yeah.
To make a good
business
turnaround
standpoint,
on your property and your investment. I'm sure you know Mr. White over there is just building houses for the fun of it. There's money's coming into play somewhere. Tom's just doing it for the fun of it. He's
Yeah.
independently wealthy. But
All right, I'd like to request that. I'll get some additional information. Hopefully I can change some of the minds here that aren't in sync.
I think it's important that you understand that that's gonna change something that town has been a certain way that everybody loves, appreciates, and respects. And it's gonna change it, so it's a tough decision. And it may look like the perfect change from you, from the outside looking in, but it's gotta be something that everybody's on board with. And I know you
understand that.
have the petition and the signatures,
I
but we
understand
need
that.
to make sure all the requirements are met. And I want you to know that, like, I do personally appreciate you bringing this before us. So I know it can be frustrating, and we mean absolutely no disrespect, but it's kind of a precedence. Like you said, nothing's happened there for 20 years. So we all just want to make sure that it's the right thing at the right time, that's all.
Okay. Thank you.
All right. All right, next item on the agenda is the Bryson Ridge Streetlight Plan.
So what happened to the last motion?
He just dies.
It died.
Dies, okay.
Yes, ma'am.
If it dies, I can revisit that, right? It's not-
Oh, yeah, you
Correct,
can-
correct, yes, correct. So just pick back up with the attorney's email, the town manager's email. All right, next item on the agenda is Bryson's Ridge Streetlight Plan. See that opening up over there? Something I noticed about the other streetlights, I don't know if it makes a difference or not, but they don't have glass. I noticed some of them in different neighborhoods have glass.
Really don't have glass on it, does it?
There's no glass on them.
I don't know. These went to the intention.
I'm assuming these are the same? Am I allowed to?
Yeah, I actually didn't know this was on the agenda, so I don't have any, I know that
I'm assuming these are the same as what he's putting at Walnut Court?
it is all the exact same.
Okay.
I've been on all the emails with
Okay.
Andrew, but it's all the exact same, the setbacks are gonna be the same.
Yeah,
It's all.
yeah, so it's uniform.
Yeah, progress Andrew goes in and does the design with the lights, and that way they can figure out the placement.
Do they have a different top that has glass on it?
Yeah, but the board last year, well, when we were doing the other lights, the
Yeah.
board voted to, with whatever lights are down there now.
For Walnut Cove?
Yep.
So
what I thought. Yep.
I guess I have a question for Mr. White or the town clerk. How about that? I'm not, I see a lot of LED lighting in the
Yeah.
business, especially pole lights that do not have glass on them anymore.
Yes.
I just, a glass around a fixture like this is just something to trap bugs.
Really?
They will get in anything you have. The worst ones are
They get
ladybugs.
stuck in there.
They fill up inside buildings all the time. I don't know where they come from, about 1,000. My question for Mr. White or the town clerk is on the financial end of this. Are you paying this cost to Duke Power, or is this the cost to the town? Because I understand we do pay a certain amount to Duke Power for the energy use in the pole lights every year.
Yeah, so these are what they call SLR design, which means that it's just like the streets, they get taken over by the town. And I mean, we have HOAs in effect too, but it's mainly our HOAs, instead of the cost of the signs and the maintenance of the signs and cutting the grass, that gets paid by the HOA, but like the streets and the lights fall back on the town.
Well, I meant the initial purchase of the lights.
Oh, so that all gets, there is no initial purchase price. It's kind of like a lease to buy, like you pay a certain amount. In the subdivisions we've done, so I mean, you've been more.
Right, we're not paying this 20 grand, if that's what you're asking.
That is exactly my question.
Oh, you know, that was the first thing I looked at and said, oh, no, we're not.
I know
It's a
Michelle,
monthly
when
fee.
Anthony's not here, just writes checks left and right, all over the place,
You know,
whatever she wants.
but-
That was my question, was it just,
No,
we're paying the monthly bill, or the $20,000, is that just a one-time charge, and
Yeah,
we
we're
never
not-
have to pay a power bill on them again?
ever in life, no, we're just paying the monthly charge.
Which is that?
Per pole?
Which
Yeah,
is,
that's that 369, and then also that 16, so it'll be like an extra, what, $400 a month on the street light.
But that's not per pole.
That's for everything.
That's for everything,
Yes, sir.
all of it.
All,
That's when, yeah, I mean, that's 185 houses.
Right.
that's for
but
everything.
you have, what is it, 33 poles? Is that what it is?
Maybe they just did the
Yeah.
first phase of the design. Like I said, I
33.
wasn't-
Well, I guess my question is,
33.
if you're agreeing to pay $400 a month forever, but if you chose to pay the $20,000 up front, $420,000 is how many monthly payments?
I'm not even gonna think about it.
Well, I'm sure Mr. White is planning on his subdivision being here more than 10 years. That's 120 months.
Yeah, but see, I'm not even included in those pricing emails because it's not part of my business. mean, I'm not trying to blow it off, it's just literally a whole SLR different package where y'all, there's only certain streetlights y'all can get in that package because it's taken over.
It looks like it's got all of them.
That's been directly in progress.
Well, I guess that's my question is going towards the clerk and Andrew. If this is a $20,000 one-time payment, we never have to pay for power on these lights, as opposed to paying $400 a month for how many years? We're gonna make 20,000 and not that far.
Yeah. Then they'll deregulate progress.
Well, that's a phone call.
Are you serious? If we pay 20,000, Progress Energy gives us free lights forever on those poles.
Yeah, and that would be great, wouldn't it? But that, I mean, that's just like a startup type of thing, isn't it? I mean, we have to pay the 360,000. I mean, the 360 and then the 16.
That's those.
Well, that's exactly the way it's phrased on the contract. Is it?
Yeah.
It's total proposed monthly charges before taxes or totally proposed one-time charge.
From Duke?
On this paper we all have here. We have a lawyer down there hold it still in court. We write this $20,000 check and you're done there with.
40, one-time charge 19,140 plus your taxes, that, and then the monthly charges before taxes.
That's interesting. And then once this gets approved, it basically goes to Duke Energy and they handle it from there. Everything's on them. It just passes right through you, goes straight to them.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, we don't have anything.
Is this area ready for these to be installed?
Well, they don't have power to any of my lots.
I know, so, yeah,
I'm meeting with them tomorrow morning.
so this is something we could discuss with Andrew too.
Well, I think you can choose the payments, but I really think we're just here tonight to approve the light design.
I'm fine with that, because they're the same as what we've already done.
Yeah.
All right, so do we want to keep the lights where they're located? And are we okay with the same light from Walnut Cove?
I mean, it'd be nice if they can, consistent. And I think Duke chose to place it based on the light given.
It looks like you don't even go more than 3 houses anywhere before there's a light. Yep. All right. Anybody want to make a motion to?
To approve the light design? I'll make a motion to approve the light design since it matches what we have in the other.
Mm-hmm.
A second.
All in favor?
Nah.
All opposed? Motion carries. Fantastic.
And I did the quick math of Andrew and Michelle, you're right, and that's what it says. $400 a month equals 20,000 in 15
Oh, I know.
months.
Yeah,
4 years, 2 months, and the lights we wouldn't pay for.
that's 4 years. We gotta figure that out. We gotta figure that out.
Save some money.
We gotta figure that out. Okay, next item on the agenda, item 4, is gonna be chamber updates. This has been a fun meeting so far.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners, Mr. Attorney. Good to see everybody again tonight. I hope everyone enjoyed the Christmas and Spring Hope event yesterday evening. I know I did, as well as seemed like hundreds of others. This year we incorporated a longer schedule with vendor market, added a train ride attraction and train features, as well as a live nativity scene and live music this year. So that event scaled up a little bit following the cancellation of Pumpkin Festival. In other chamber updates, we did have our annual meeting just a couple weeks ago and voted to elect a 2023 board of directors. For 2023, Mr. Michael Ward will take the seat of president. Michael, of course, most of us know, is the owner of Michael's Showside Grill and Bakery, as well as Contagious Confections and Essential Edibles, which will be taking root there on Pine Street.
Someday.
It's getting there. It's if we can never just get glass in the storefront.
One glass at a time.
One pane of glass at a time. but Michael will be taking that role. Serving as vice president will be Miss Kathy Curtis. Her and her husband Pete own Curtis Installation as well as the Webb's Mill event venue. Vice president of events is Karen White of Twin Oak Farms out on 581 and 97. Secretary this coming year will be Leanne Hannell. Most of us all know Leanne and Stan as the owners of One Man's Treasure Auction House and 102 West Nash. Assistant Secretary is Miss Lisa Ward. She's new to the board this year and is the owner of Clyde Marsden and Company here on Pine Street. Treasurer returning this year is Miss Clarice Bissett. We're all very familiar with and very thankful for the diligent work that she does. And new again this year to the board is Assistant Treasurer Sarah Brisby. If you bank at First Citizens Bank, you'll recognize that familiar face. With no other updates, I will entertain any questions from the board. Hearing none. Appreciate it.
You gonna survive the pumpkin festival
Retirement.
not happening?
I think we'll live.
Financially?
We are just chalking it up as a loss and moving forward. So I don't think our losses were too terrible, but it hurt. It hurt a little bit.
Understood.
I wanted to read a quick message to you from the Chamber Board. Town, the residents of Spring Hope, we want to say thank you, Ethan, for the great and amazing leadership of the Spring Hope Area Chamber of Commerce. You were the president from 2020 to 2022. Our chamber will forever be better because of you. Your love of Spring Hope was apparent in everything you did. From Project Charlie Brown, growing giant pumpkin and magical Christmas in Spring Hope. Everything you touched was made better. We appreciate you, wish you the best, and we all look forward to your continued guidance and advice as ex officio.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. It was definitely a pleasure working with all of y'all. And though I will not be serving in that role and office title, you can't get rid of me that easy. So I'll be around town working on other projects as well. So thank y'all.
Thank you. All right, next item on the agenda, Town Attorney's Report.
Nothing to report the board at the meeting tonight.
Okay. Next item on the agenda, Police Chief's Report.
For the month of November, we had 5 total incident reports, 122 total calls for service, 36 traffic stops, 1 security check, and 6 traffic accidents. Just to give the board an update for the home break-in that we had on Gum Avenue and for the Public Works shed that was broken into, there has been an arrest made on that, and there's an outstanding warrant for the other suspect. We were able to recover some of the power tools from Gum Avenue, and we were able to get videos of the suspects selling the brass fittings at the recycler in Wilson. Positively ID'd them and have made an arrest on one, and there is outstanding warrants on another one who's in Charlotte area at this time. We've had an uptick in calls over in the Duck 3 Bojangles area with people in the parking lot soliciting, along with trespassing and things that go with that type of stuff. We have Shop with a Cop planned this next Saturday, the 10th at 10 o'clock. We've selected 8 children from Spring Hope Elementary to be going. They'll be shopping with the law enforcement that we have now. I've got some part-time guys coming in, and I've got a couple wives of some officers that are going to be there as well to walk around with those 8 children at Walmart. With the money that we get from the police calendar, along with the grant, the Walmart grant for that, and some donations from citizens around town, we're probably going to try to be able to do somewhere around $300 per child.
Wow.
So we look forward to that, and like I said, it'll be at Walmart in Zebulon on the 10th at 10 o'clock. So next weekend at 10.
That's impressive. $300 a kid. That's good. That's awesome. Any questions for police?
With right now though, $300 doesn't go
well,
a long way, but
one test. So looking, I'm assuming by, I'm reading Andrew's notes here, that you're gonna hire a new officer in January?
I haven't met with him formally on that yet, but I think that's the plan, what we're trying to do, yes, sir.
Okay. That's what he says, so still on schedule. So good.
When are you picking up your Humvee?
As soon as the red mud gets dried up from over at Edwards. And to brief the board on that, Edwards has painted the Humvee for us, and it looks stellar. It looks like a brand new vehicle. So,
Caterpillar yellow?
no, it's actually black. I've got a picture of it.
Oh, I got the picture right here.
But I was supposed to pick it up last week, but it had just finished pouring down rain, so the,
Wouldn't want to get rained on the
No.
vehicle.
well, I don't want my fresh paint to have red mud all over it.
Got pictures.
And for anybody that doesn't know, this was this is the military's version of a SWAT vehicle that the chief got free from a retired Department of Defense vehicle, and so it'll be great. I think just this winter, somebody gets stuck, big four-wheel
Yeah,
drive.
it's a couple things that it can do. One is it prevents my guys from tearing up our patrol cars in the ice and running into stuff and having to do that. And it came fully equipped with everything that was on it from the military. So it's got winches in the front, winches in the back. If there's a tree down in the road and people are tied up on other things, we can hook a winch to it, drag the tree out of the road, high water rescue, any type of thing like that. And I mean, we don't even want to talk about it, but just to be prepared. I mean, for anything like a barricaded subject or an after shoot type situation, for the officers to be able to go to that scene and to be armored when they get there and to be safe while they're there is, a whole different thing. So we got that. We're going to be training on that and being able to, respond to things and be able to get in and out of it and be able to move in it and load hurt people into the back and things like that. It's just a whole different type of training at that point. But as far as being able to, park our patrol cars and be able to drive that to assist the county with calls that they can't make it to, and to be able to pull somebody out that's stuck and to be able to move trees off of, out of the road or off of, anything like that. So I think it'll be good for that, and I'm hoping to go pick it up.
It will be good. And the partnerships with the sheriff's office.
Sure.
Yep. So I'm excited that that you were able to get that for the town. All right. Thank you. If no other questions for the chief.
Thanks, Chief.
All right. Next item on the agenda is the town manager's report. And does anyone have questions for clerk? So it looks like,
Michelle,
yeah.
Could you, I'm not gonna ask you, of course, I'm not gonna do that to you. I'd like to set up a time with Andrew to go in and talk to him about some things.
Okay.
If you would set that up.
Sure, no problem. If
Just
anybody
got-
does have any questions about his report, I think I can answer most of that on there. Out of the 15 things he has on here, I could probably answer them.
Oh, yes. So, number one, item two, the ARPA appropriation funds to make improvements. Is that from the new ARPA funds, or are they already given some?
No, that's from the 3.7.
Oh, that's from the 3.7?
Yeah.
That is?
Mhm.
Okay.
But, we haven't gotten that yet. We still have a lot of things to do. He just reappropriated funds so that it could help the treatment plant.
Yep.
Yeah, because he just changed the plan a little bit.
Now, 205, 207, they transferred to Axiom, and there is a condemnation on the property with requirements,
I
so.
don't know what he's gonna do with 205. I don't know if he's gonna bring it down or if he's gonna fix it. So.
What is the timeline that has to happen? That's
He's
the
actually
question.
gonna put a fence up.
Okay.
We're gonna take our fence down, and he's gonna put his up.
Okay. Is there anything that you need to let us know on that?
No, Andrew and I had emails, but Andrew was going to sit down and talk with him, so I don't know if he had the meeting with him yet, but.
Okay.
So, I think it's a strong assumption that the new owner will resolve the matters relatively quickly.
Now, did we have a development agreement in place with them on the buildings beside the DMV? And have
Yeah.
they fulfilled the agreement to that? It's been, a year?
I don't
No
know the
activity?
answer to that. I don't know. The answer, yes, we do, and I don't know.
Okay. All right. Any other questions for Clerk Collins from the manager's report?
I do want you to convey to the Public Works Department that I appreciate all the Christmas lights and the fact that they were all working this year. In the past years when somebody else was putting them up, they might be half on, half off.
So the only thing is there was one or two, if you noticed, there was one flashing on East Nash, which has
Yeah.
already been reported to Duke
Right,
Energy.
I did say that.
And they were also fixing something in front of Food Line this morning. There was some kind of big deal line that had gone down, so we did lose some lights there, but it should be.
But all in all, compared to what it's been for the previous few years, when you walk through and there's like 3 lights and the whole thing that are even on when somebody else put them up. So just,
No, they did a good job.
I know they don't come to this meeting, but make sure that they know we appreciate it.
Hey, did y'all grant the DDB the funding for the applications for events? Did y'all bring that up last month?
At the meeting, remember they canceled the meeting.
Oh, okay. All right, if there's no other questions for Clerk Collins on the town manager's report, then we can move on to other business. Any questions or comments? We'll start with Commissioner Jeffers.
No, I'm good.
None?
None for me?
I do. I met with Thomas Gillespie, and I hate Tom's already left, but I met with Thomas Gillespie from Nash County Parks and Rec today down at the park. Apparently, some grant money has come available to them, and what we're looking at is at a no cost to the town. It'll be 100% grant funded in extending the nature trail around the park that's down at Spring Hope. Everybody knows, if you've been in there, you know it kind of stops at the basketball court. It's got like a little loop. There's a lot of property in the wooded area that's between Walnut Cove and the park. So I walked it with Mr. Gillespie today to look at extending that up around by the bathrooms, get rid of some of the muddy areas, and then around by the bleachers as well. That's all part of the town park. So we get more updates as that comes. I know there's a rush on that. They got to have a plan done by the 12th. It kind of happened quickly. So, yeah, next Monday, a week from today. And it's got to be a rough draft plan. We looked at where would be a great place to extend the walkways, best for public use, maybe a natural area down through the wooded. He's got to get back with GIS and determine what are the actual property lines. And I was hoping to talk to Mr. White to find, I know there's no easement out of Walnut Cove. Everything's kind of property line to property line. But it would be good if there was some way to connect the park back into the subdivisions. I guess that could remain to be seen. But for now, I just want to let the board know that it happened kind of quick. And it's not for sure yet, but hopefully I'll have some good news in January.
You've always been an advocate for Parks and Rec, and appreciate that. That would be phenomenal, wouldn't it? Commissioner Gautner?
Good.
All right. Clerk Collins, do you have anything to add? No. All right, then we need a motion for adjournment.
Motion to adjourn.
We have a second.
Second.
All in favor? All right, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.
Well, I didn't expect the meeting to last this long.
It was two things,
Andrew did too.
things on the agenda, but it was two gigantic things.
You know what I mean? So I didn't think close to that.